Bantam D1 1955, ripe for restoration. First things first, strip the bike down, get it ready for sandblasting, assess the parts and mark what's good enough to keep and what's got to be replaced. I've already taken the engine out at this stage. It's on the bench ready for stripping. The forked top nuts were very difficult to undo, as you can see. Ended up with a cold chisel and hammer. But these will be replaced as the chrome is completely gone, so you don't mind ruining them to get them out. On with the sandblasting. As you can see, the frame was nowhere near as bad as it could have been once all the rust had been taken off. The rest of the bike was done in exactly the same way: the tank, the mudguards, the toolbox, fork legs, cowl, headlamp rim, headlamp bowl. But I'm afraid I lost that footage when the computer died. So here's a bit more of the frame being blasted. Here the frame is given its first coat of black. Again, I lost the footage of the undercoat primer. It was an epoxy based primer. First time I've used it, it'll be interesting to see how it all turns out. And for those who are worried about me not wearing a mask, I'm actually standing in the workshop doorway and the air is flowing from behind me and taking all the paint fumes out through the door. With a bike this age, you obviously get dents and things in the tinware, so a little time was spent taking the tin and beating out all these dents. There's a very good view of the dents in the top of the mudguard that have to be taken out. A little time here is well worth it later, and also helps to avoid the use of filler. More tweaking with the front mudguard. This has a few problems with rust. The sandblasting actually blew through the mudguard. It's borderline whether I should replace it or refinish it, but I do like to try and keep the original stuff as much as possible, so I shall end up putting a plate behind the mudguard, inside the mudguard, and filling from the outside. The rough end of the mudguard was trimmed back a few millimetres. Unless someone gets out with a tape measure and knows the original dimensions, I don't think this will be noticed. pinholes were filled with silver solder. I use silver solder because it requires a lot less heat than brazing or welding, so there's less chance of distorting the original mudguards. It can be a right pain if the metal overheats and stretches, trying to get it back into shape. There are two areas, one in each mudguard, where the pinholes are so numerous it's actually going to pay me to put a little patch behind inside the mudguard. So that was cut from a bit of plate, given a bit of shape on the wheeling machine to actually match the profile of the mudguard, and then, as you can see here, trimmed and pressed into place. It can then be silver soldered from the top of the mudguard and held in place through the pinholes. Here the flame is warming up both the patch underneath and the actual mudguard, so that the silver solder runs between the two and bond the two together. It takes a bit of time, but eventually you get a good bond between the patch and the mudguard. The same work was done to the front mudguard, with the addition of two washers silver soldered inside where the front number plate brackets go through the mudguard, just to avoid cracking. This metal is very old. That's it for now. Sorry about the quality of the pictures at the beginning, but I lost a lot on that damn computer when it packed up. The best I could do. But anyway, thanks for watching.